Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and I'm going to be doing the Encanto book tag today. This tag was created by Passport to Eden and I saw it on Bear's channel, so I will be linking both of them below. And all of these questions are based on the various songs from Encanto, which are some of our favorite parts, of course. So the first one is for the Family Madrigal. Oh my gosh. Can you bring me a tissue box?
What?
Bring me a tissue box. Thank you. For some reason I thought my allergy meds would kick in by the time I started filming, but no. So that's just gonna be there. Whew. Okay. So we're naming a book that includes multiple generations of a family. So I picked With a Fire on High. This book has 3 generations living in one house. It is a grandma, skip a generation of the daughter, her granddaughter, and her great-granddaughter, because our main character is living with her grandmother and she is a teen mother, so she is going to high school while also raising this baby, and her parents are both out of the picture. And as far as I recall, there is a distinct lack of child support from the dad's family, even though I'm fairly certain the dad's family is better off financially. But this is also about the generations' relationship to each other, and it's about how the main character is trying to become a chef, both for her own dreams and to be able to better provide for her daughter, and so as not to have her grandmother bearing all of the financial stress of taking care of the 3 of them. And she's balancing this with figuring out, should she just get a low-paying job right now or go to school to eventually get a higher-paying job that will be a lot more fulfilling. And so it's a lot about that, and also about some high school relationships that she has because she's still very young, and also the stigma against teen mothers that she has to encounter at school and when looking for work. Number 2, what is a book you enjoyed that took longer than expected to finish? This is for Waiting on a Miracle. And for me, I picked The Freedom Race. This was an e-arc that I got last year, and it took longer partially because it was somewhat dark content. It is a dystopian world where things have kind of gone back to antebellum era. Massive scale slavery in America, that era. Do not chew on that. That is a wire. No. Frodo, drop it. No, no. Frodo. He dropped it. So there were all the markers of slavery, SA, colorism, in treatment of babies, families separated, all of that type of thing. So it was upsetting to read, but it was also valuable to read. And it's called The Freedom Race because there is an event held where enslaved people can enter a race competition. If they get to DC from some other place safely, because there are people shooting at them along the way and wild animals that are like nuclear affected animals, and people kidnapping them and all sorts of things along this race route. If they can get there safely, they can be free. So it's super messed up, but it's also, there's like people who are in a resistance, who are trying to make things better for everyone, trying to free people, and there's also some supernatural stuff going on. And there is another book, there's a sequel, and I'm not sure when it's coming up or what it's called, but I should look that up. But it took me long because, partially because they didn't have a Kindle edition of it, so I had to read it on my phone rather than on my Kindle, so the text was smaller and it was more difficult, but also because the content made me be very slow, but also I do think it was a really good book. Then for surface pressure, it is who is a character who carries way too much, and I picked Kyoshi because much like Aang and Korra, any avatar carries too much simply from being the most powerful bender in the world at their time, and being responsible both for political balance between countries and trying to prevent war, and also with spirit to people. balance, and like that's just a lot for one person. Even if they have lots of supports around them, it's ultimately their responsibility. And Kiyoshi lived in particularly troubling times, so I think she carried way more than is healthy. Then comes We Don't Talk About Bruno, no, no, no. And the prompt is to talk about a book that you haven't talked about. And I feel like I only talked about The Girl in the Steel Corset when I did my wrap-up for whenever I read it. So this is a steampunk story set in London, I believe, and there is mystery and there's a small romance side plot, and there are automatons and alchemistry, and it was really interesting, and one of not very many steampunk books that I've read, so it was nice to try out a little bit more of the genre. Then number 5 is What Else Can I Do? And the creator of the tag had felt that that was going to be a nice, light and fluffy princessy song, but it turned out to be quite emotional and hit a lot of chords. So the prompt is a book that you thought would be light and fluffy but hit emotionally. And for me, that was My Life as an Ice Cream Sandwich. You know, from the title and the cute little girl on the front, I thought it'd be fairly light and fluffy at least. But the kid is clearly coded as being neurodivergent, and it's a lot about how people treat her badly for that. And I didn't even feel like it ended in a satisfactory way of the lesson being that people need to not treat neurodivergent people badly. It was kind of like it half blamed her for it. So like it hit a lot emotionally, and then it also kind of hurt my feelings. Then of course we have Dos Oruguitas, and this is characters who make you believe in soulmate. And for that, there are several, especially of long series that I continue to read, but ones that I haven't talked about as much in that way are Ian Mackenzie and his wife, whose name I think begins with a B, in the book The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. And this is a story about an autistic man before autistic diagnosis was a thing in 1800s England, who falls in love with a lady who doesn't have a problem with him being weird, and they're just really precious together and prioritize each other and get to know each other's peculiarities and needs in a really wonderful way. Number 7, the reprising song that kind of reprises a bunch of different songs, but especially the Family Madrigal, the one where they rebuild the house. That is Name a Book that features rebuilding relationships. And I picked Blanca and Roja because that is about two sisters who the world is trying to tear apart, and is about how they struggle with being this weird magical realism thing where the swans are going to take one of them. There's lots of extended family who are like sure that the swans are going to take one of them, and they want it to be a certain one because of colorism, basically. There are like secret ways of supposedly keeping the swans from taking you, and they each have a boy that they like, and so there's all sorts of complicated relationships going on, and it's about them getting hurt in their relationship with each other and then trying to hang on to each other even though all these forces and magic is trying to tear them apart. Then number 8, for Colombia, the final song, name a book that left you immersed in the culture. And for that I picked Let Me Show You, because this whole series of the Let Me series had a lot of African American vernacular English in it, and a fair amount of which I hadn't actually heard before and I learned about through context. That definitely made me feel immersed in another culture. I think that counts as an entire other culture as opposed to a subculture like emo people or subculture. And there was actually a lot of AAVE in a lot of the books that I read last month that were black romances. And that was really cool to learn more about, partially because language is a special interest of mine, and also just because it is a different culture that exists within my country. All of You, that's the second to last song, and Colombia Mi Encanto is the name of the last song. And so that is the Encanto book tag. If you enjoy the Encanto movie and haven't yet done this tag, which I know a lot of people have, I tag you. Encanto, Encanto, doo-doo-doo-doo. Also, in case I forget, I want to, because my memory is terrible, I want to reference in this video that this necklace, that is a wrap kind of necklace that comes apart like that and you do like that, belonged to my most likely neurodivergent grandmother. Not the one who bullied me, the other one. I have quite a few of her things now and they're really special to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Encanto, Encanto, Encanto,